All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm going to try and make this video as short and as informative as possible. So, this is just going to be me showing you all the controls and how you get around using a forklift, sit-down forklift anyway. Stand-ups are very different. Now, this right here, obviously, you see is a Toyota, but 90% about what I'm going to tell you today can be applied to both brands of lifts, whether that's Toyota, Hyster, Yale, whatever. So let's get started. Obviously, you can see the seatbelts right here. On Toyota specifically, I haven't seen this on any other brand, but on Toyota specifically, not all of them, they'll have this thing called seatbelt start, meaning you have to have the seatbelt clicked in to start. I'll put that on in a second. So you see right here underneath the steering wheel right here, you have your parking brake. You just pull that to release. Right here, push this down, typically with your foot to engage it. On the newer models of Toyota, the parking brake is going to be a lever that sits right here. You got your two brakes. This one obviously gets used all the time. I'm kidding. It's that one that most people use. But these two, I mean, they can be used for either one. This is going to be your standard brake, whereas this is going to be your brake plus engage your neutral. I tend to use this, whereas the other drivers at this site prefer to just use this one and then put the lift in neutral. Speaking of which, that's going to be how you change the direction. Obviously, push up to go forward, keep it in neutral to engage the forks, or just in neutral and then reverse to back up. Okay, so the good thing about sit-down forklifts is, for the most part, they steer like cars. You see right here, you see the back wheels are angled. That's because while they turn, with a steering wheel just like cars, they actually have rear wheel steering, so they will turn a little differently than cars. If you've never operated a machine with rear wheel steering, it just turns a lot sharper than cars pretty much, which is really only an advantage. So then, obviously, let me turn this on. You're going to have your ignition key right here, so just turn that on. Right over here, you got your lights. If they're off, it should be in this position. On is in that position. I know some sites have it wired differently. Obviously, you get your horn here, turn. Go right to, turn right to turn right, turn left to turn left. Here's the real complicated part, or what confuses the most people is actually the forks. But in my opinion, the hardest part about driving a lift isn't actually using the forks. It's going to be getting used to the steering, because rear wheel steering is something that if you don't have experience with heavy machinery, you probably have never used it before. But the most similar thing to it would be if you tried driving your car backwards for an extended period of time, I guess. But let's get on to these controls. So you got your first lever right here. It's gonna control whether you raise or lower the forks. You pull it back to raise the forks, push it up to lower the forks, and you can see the lift's in neutral. If you hold it down in neutral and push on the gas pedal while you pull up the forks, it actually will raise them faster. Sadly, the same thing cannot be said if you do it while lowering the forks. They're not going to lower any faster no matter how much gas you waste. At that point, you're just wasting gas. So that's going to be your first lever. Your second lever is always going to be to control the tilt of your mast, which is going to be this whole thing right here. It sort of holds the forks. So you pull the mast toward you to pull it back. Obviously, that'll pull it back. You can't really see it that well. Then you push it up. It'll tilt the mast forward, away from you. That controls what degree of angle the forks are tilted at. So that's why you tilt the mast. You got your third lever, which can be different depending on the brand. This is what I've seen. Typically, Yales and Toyotas, they'll all have the same, but I've seen it differently on certain Yales. So you want to pull it toward you to shift your forks right. So you that wasn't a good example. Let me shift over. So pull it toward you to shift the forks right. So there you go right. And then you push it away to shift them left. Now, on some lifts, it'll be the exact opposite. Some lifts you push up to shift right and pull back to shift left. It just depends on who wired it. Now, this fourth lever. Now, the good thing about this video is these first three controls, they're gonna be on every single double and single sit-down lift. So if you're only gonna be getting a job operating a single lift, just, I guess, focus on these three controls. Don't worry about this at all. But for the double lifts, on this specific Toyota, and this varies so differently between brands and models. On newer Toyotas, I've seen it be different. On older Toyotas, this is what it is. But mostly, on most forklifts I've driven, it's push up to open the forks up. As you can see, they kind of open quite slowly. You give it some gas, they'll open a lot faster. And it's going to be the same for closing it. Pull it back to close. If you give it some gas, it'll close a little faster. Just one more time, this controls what height, I guess, your forks are at, raise and lower it. This controls the side shift, or I'm sorry, the tilt of the mast for the forks, my bad. So put it back to tilt back, forward. This controls the side shift right here. Pull it toward you, shift right, push it away to shift left. And then lastly, the forks, push up to open, close. Now there's the forks and everything. Like I said though, in my honest opinion, the hardest part about driving forklift is going to be getting used to the steering. They steer with the rear wheels, as you can see, that's how they turn. And you can get typically a much sharper turn out of them. I can't really tell if you can see the area I'm turning in, but you can kind of see. I'm not at a 0 degree rotation right now, but I'd say it's maybe 2 or 3 degrees off. It's very close. That's really, honestly, everything you need to know about a Toyota Lift. I'm going to be honest with you. If you watch this video, granted, it's not like I went super in depth with anything, but like if you watch this video and you're still not super confident on, like if you can get on a lift and fake it till you make it, please do not. Because the chances of you getting on a lift with no confidence and not fucking up are so small compared to the chance that you'll get on a lift with no confidence and fuck something up. You might crash, you might, crash, I don't know. You could break the forks off. You just don't want to do that. I really hope this video helped y'all out. If it didn't, oh well, I'm a forklift driver, not a YouTuber, so.